Welcome to Light Over Heat with Professor David Yamani. Today I want to give some brief comments about this new book on the history of the AR-15. Well, as you can see, I'm recording from home today, and that's because I'm in the final stretches of finishing my book on American gun culture, Gun Curious. It's due on November 1st, and this week I happen to be doing revisions to the chapter on the AR-15. And so the timing of the publication of this 380-page history of the AR-15 is both sort of fortuitous and also somewhat problematic, because I really wanted to try to incorporate the author's thoughts into my own work on the AR-15, although my chapter is just one of 8 chapters in the book, but I'm also really on a tight timeline to finish my manuscript, and so I spent a good amount of time reading 380 pages of the book very closely. I've also written a nearly 5,000 word review of the book, which I'm trying to sort of pare down and find an outlet for. When that's available, I'll certainly let everybody know. But for today, my goal is just to give some brief highlights of my overall view of this publication. So let me begin by summarizing what the authors are trying to accomplish by looking at their book jacket, rather than trying to give a complete summary of 380 pages. So the book jacket says, "Writing with fairness and compassion, McWhirter and Ellenson," who are 2 reporters for the Wall Street Journal who've been working on this project for a few years now, "explore American gun culture, revealing the broad appeal of the AR-15, the awful havoc it wreaks, and the politics of trying to protect everyday people from mass shootings. The result is a moral history of contemporary America's love affair with technology, freedom, profit, and weaponry." I think this summary really highlights a few of the goals of the book outside really telling the history of the development of the weapon. So the book is divided into 2 parts. The first part addresses Stoner's invention of the AR-15, why he did it, how it was got deployed in the hands of soldiers in Vietnam, sort of well-known problems with that. I'm not a firearms historian or gun crank. I can't assess the accuracy of that, but I will say I did learn some things from reading that section of the book. But the second part of the book, which is actually the majority of the book, deals with these other 3 issues in terms of the civilian deployment of the weapon, how the gun got into civilian hands, and what happened from there. So in that sense, they are dealing with 3 points, really. The first being an exploration of American culture and why the AR-15 is popular. One being the havoc that it wreaks, especially in terms of mass shootings, and the third being the politics of how to keep people safe. And I'd say overall, they've given me a 2-legged stool. The one leg doesn't fit. I give them, say, 2 cheers for the book rather than 3. I think that they deal with the issue of mass shootings in tremendous detail. I found myself on the verge of tears reading through some of the parts. It's really heart-wrenching. They also, I think, deal fairly with the issue of the politics of gun control. We see sort of villains on both sides. We not just Wayne LaPierre on the one side, but also Dianne Feinstein shows herself to be sort of somewhat gun illiterate and stubborn in her pursuit of an assault weapons ban. So, I'm not going to really address those 2 parts. I think they're done pretty well. But where the book really falls down for me is in its promise on the book jacket And also, I have to say, if it's telling the true history of the AR-15, the need to explore gun culture and to understand why the AR-15 is attractive to people is really important. This is a firearm that is about 1 in 10 of all firearms owned in the United States today. There's almost 11 million AR-15 owners, conservatively estimated in 2019 by researchers at Harvard and Northeastern universities. And so what is it about the AR-15 that makes it attractive to people? And we really don't learn a lot about that in this book, unfortunately. And that hurts me especially because that's my bailiwick, right? I want to study why guns are owned by normal people. And we really don't meet very many normal gun owners in this book. Over the hundreds of pages of the book that deal with the post-Stoner invention of the AR-15, its diffusion into civilian hands, who do we meet from among those civilian gun owners in their exploration of American gun culture to understand the AR-15's attraction? Okay, we meet Chris Walls, who started the AR-15 Gun Owners of America Facebook group after Sandy Hook, and who we learn is attracted to the ideas of the 3% movement. He's part of the, quote, vocal and angry AR owners that lead the gun rights agenda, no compromise. And from Waltz, the authors smoothly transition to the story of C.J. Grisham as embodying the intersection of Molon Labe with AR-15s. And those of you who recognize the name, will know that Grisham was the leader of Open Carry Texas, who was fond of taking his people into Target and Starbucks and other places openly carrying AR-15 rifles. This represents the attraction of AR-15s to Americans for the authors. They promise fairness and compassion in telling the story of the AR-15, but I don't think gun owners get it here. We see this McCloskey guy who confronted Black Lives Matter protesters with his Colt AR-15 on his front steps of his mansion in St. Louis. We meet Kyle Rittenhouse. We meet a white nationalist group called The Base, the Boogaloo Boys, extremists who build ghost guns, MAGA supporters with AR-15 Confederate battle flags, and Oath Keepers. All of which are absolutely true. I mean, they're not making this up, but they're giving a very partial view of the 11 million AR-15 owners in the United States, most of whom are not involved in this culture war over guns in the United States. Where is someone like John Stokes, a progressive gun nut who's defended his ownership of the AR-15 in print, or why don't they come visit my gun class field trip to the range and watch the students, many of whom have never fired an AR-15, experience shooting that rifle and then their reflections on that. This gets much more to the core of what attracts Americans to the AR-15 than all of these other cases put together, in my view. I think one of the reasons why they don't do this is because it would disrupt a very coherent narrative that they're constructing that really looks at AR-15 owners as kind of cultural dopes in a sense to gun industry marketing. They're political pawns of the NRA. They're right-wing culture warriors and insurrectionists, and of course, they're also murderers. So I say in my review that a more accurate, although less marketable, title than The Truth About the AR-15 would be the AR-15 from stoner to school shootings, because this is really what their focus is. And they signal this in the prologue to the book when they ask a question that they truly do answer in the book, which is, how did the weapon American soldiers carry in Vietnam become best known for killing school children, right? And for those people in the American population who think of the AR-15 exclusively or largely in connection with school shootings, right? That's what it's best known for in the view of those people, right? This story is perfectly told, right? It plays right into what they believe and now gives them firm documentation for their beliefs. But by framing the book in such a limited manner, it really makes the truth that it conveys limited as well. So this is, I would say, a true story of the AR-15, but it's not the true story of the AR-15. I really hope I can take the insights I gleaned from reading the book and thinking about its argument and bring it into my single chapter on living with AR-15s and sort of convey some of that sense of what attracts normal Americans to a normal American rifle. Again, my 4,000 word review of this book is forthcoming. I will definitely let you know when it's available. If you like this brief review, take a second right now and hit that like button. You wouldn't believe how many people watch and express appreciation for these videos, but never take a second to hit that like button. That does wonders for my own self-esteem and self-confidence, but it also helps other people to find this work. So again, if you feel comfortable, hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to hearing your comments on this brief review here, and I will probably, after I get my book manuscript done, attend to those comments and enjoy engaging with you on them.